How do you get a job on cruise ships? How do you go about applying, and what processes and steps you need to follow? In this video, we're going to talk about exactly that, and I'm going to take you through a practical guide and walk you through step by step, and in 7 steps, you'll be ready to begin your career and land your dream job of working and traveling the world with cruise ships. Now, welcome back to my channel. If you happen to find me through this video and you're seeing my face for the very first time, welcome on board. My name is 𝐊𝐍𝐎𝐓𝐄𝐃. I've dedicated this playlist, Work and Travel Overseas, to share with you my experiences and to give you some tips and strategies on what to do to enhance your journey of working on cruise ships. Now, I've been blessed to be able to travel the world with cruise ships. I've been through 6.5 continents in more than 70 countries. I actually began my career 10 years ago internationally. Now, I've actually made a video previously. I'm going to leave a link on the screen or in the description taking you through 3 top reasons why you should be working on cruise ships. Now, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel in order not to miss any new content that I post and be notified as soon as I post new content and to keep the motivation going. Now, without further ado, let us go to step number 1. Step number 1, believe it or not, it's your travel passport. Now, this actually ties to step number 6 when we get to the documentation process, but let me explain why I put it as a priority in step number 1. Now, first of all, in order to succeed in our journey of applying and working on cruise ships, we need to take action. Not just small action, but massive action. And this is going to be the first step. If by now you have a passport, that is perfectly fine. You can skip this step. Or if you do not have a passport, this is where I recommend that you get to your nearest home affairs and get your travel passport as soon as you can. Now, the reason I say that is because as human beings, we procrastinate, and that is actually normal. I procrastinate almost sometimes even every day without even being aware. And by taking this massive step of getting our passport, we will be eliminating this procrastination. Now, this also serves to me as a guide. It serves as a motivator. You see, I'm a person that loves to set goals. And when I set goals, I use objects and things that I see in order to visualize my goal and to help me to remind my goal each and every day. Now, if you have your passport and you see it almost every day, this will be a reminder, and it will actually get you in that seriousness of course, going through this journey of getting your job on cruise ships. Now, let's go to step number 2. Step number 2 is to get a professional CV. Now, I say professional CV because I basically want you to look at it from this point of view. Now, imagine if you were running a business. You would want to market, advertise or promote your products to the best of your ability so that you can be able to stand out in the market in order to attract your potential customer or client so that they can be able to buy from you at the end of the day. Now, the same principle applies when it comes to marketing yourself in order, to land yourself a job in cruise ships. Your CV will serve as your marketing tool, and you want to put in the time and effort in drafting out a winning CV. Now, one tip that I can probably share with you that I have used, in drafting out a winning CV is that you should include and only include information which is relevant to the position or job that you are applying for, and leave out the rest. Filter out the noise so that you can write a winning CV. Now, I have actually included the objective part, and this is where I've included my sort of story so that the hiring agency or employer can be able to see and of course get a better understanding of who I am before they even start to read the rest of my CV. I'm actually going to make an entire video that will take you step by step on how to write a winning CV. So make sure you stay tuned and look out for the video whenever it's ready. Now let's go to step number 3. At this point, you should have your professional CV. You are ready to apply, and the question is, how do you go about applying? Which brings us now to step number 3. There's actually 2 options that you can go about into applying. Number one, you can apply directly via the company website, or number two, you can apply via an authorized agency, which is of course hired to do exactly that. Now, in the company website, you might get some job postings, but sometimes these might be, out of date job postings, which is why I recommend that you go via an agency, because they will give you a faster response rate as well as current and up-to-date postings. Now, the question is, how do you know which one is the authorized from, which one is not? This is where the problem comes in, simply because on the internet, you can find that there are certain people who might pose as, authorized agencies for a certain company, and that is not the case. They're simply after your back. So to help you further on this, I'm actually gonna dedicate an entire video on this topic. So make sure again, you look out for this video when it comes to the future. Now let's move on to step number 4. Step number 4 is the interview call. Now at this point, it simply means that your CV has been shortlisted, and this is why again I'm going to emphasize and stress out the importance of step number 2, which is writing a professional CV, simply because this is where it's going to play a huge role in making sure that you stand out from the market so that you can get to the step of being offered an interview call. Now, this information will be communicated to you via email. They might want to host a Skype, interview, or they might do it through Teams, or sometimes in some cases via WhatsApp, but they will communicate this information with you. In most cases and for most companies, you will go through 2 interviews. The first interview will usually be with the hiring agency. This is where they will want to get to know you. They will do background checks, and they will see if you are the right candidate for this position which you have applied for, checking of course your knowledge, experience, as well as your expertise for the position which we have applied for. Now, if you make it through this first interview, which in most cases they will get back to you in a couple of days, you will go through the final interview, which will be held by the company directly itself. It might be with the company HOD, the corporate, or whoever that's in charge of that position which you are applying for. Now, at this point, they will also want to go deeper and test the knowledge for that particular position, and to see basically if you are the right candidate as the agency has recommended you. Now again, if you make it through this step, this is where now we're going to move on to the next step. Step number 5 will be the offer letter. Now, upon completion of the interview analysis and the company has determined that they are interested in you, they're basically going to communicate with the agency. If you applied with the agency, or if you applied directly with a company, the representative will share this information with you, where they're going to offer you an offer of employment. Now, in this letter, this is where they're going to include all the details about your job, such as your job description, the length of your contract, some of the terms and conditions, and also how much you're going to be paid, if by now that information they haven't shared with you, because in some cases they might share with you prior, or maybe when you get the question and answer session during the interview, you would have had an opportunity to ask these questions. And basically, upon the completion of the letter of employment, this is where now we're going to go to the next step, which is the documentation process. Step number 6. The first and most important document is your travel passport. This is why I made it a top priority and actually discussed this on step number 1, simply because we do not have to worry about this at this point. However, if you did not get a chance, this is where I will urge you and highly recommend that you go to your nearest Home Affairs in order to apply for your travel document, simply because you won't be able to travel without your passport, and you won't be able to accept and board your newly offered job without your passport. Now, up next is going to be your medical. There's actually 2 types of medicals where major cruise lines or most cruise lines require. Again, this information will be communicated with you depending on the job and position you're applying for, on which medical they require. The first one is going to be the SAMHSA, and the second one is going to be the Bermuda. Now, the main difference is that the SAMHSA is more of a basic medical, whereby the doctor might ask you a couple of questions to determine your health condition and whether or not you are fit for the position, and they might take things like your weight, they might do eye tests, and in some cases they might do chest x-rays. Now the Bermuda is more of a more intense medical way. They might again do things like eye test, they might do chest x-rays, they will actually also take your blood samples, and in order to determine your iron, to determine your cholesterol, and of course your blood sugar levels and other health related conditions. Now they might also require to draw out your urine samples simply because they will want to test and check your sexual health conditions. Now you do not have to worry about this simply because if you are in a good health condition, this is something not to worry about. It's just a precaution for the company to determine and see if you are healthy and fit for the position. Now up next will be your yellow fever vaccination. If you are traveling to countries like Africa, Asia, and South America, this will be a requirement. This is easy to do, and if you go on Google to search about this, it's actually very simple to do, and this one will be valid for 10 years. Up next will be your Siemens book. Now this is a requirement. This will be like your passport, but now in this case it will actually work to keep your C records of your services. And also this document, again, you don't have to worry about it simply because they can do it on your behalf on board, and you will get this document once you join on board. Up next will be your police clearance. Unfortunately, if you have been convicted of any crime, you cannot be able to work on the cruise ships simply because this is a security reason that the company wants to go under. Up next, of course, now will be the time whereby you need to do your STCW courses. There's actually 5 basic courses that you need to do that can include things like crowd management and basic fire fighting, depending of course on the company and of course if they do require this. I know in other companies they actually offer to do all of these trainings on board. I've worked for Seaborn in my last company and I've never had to do STCWs, and in this case now I need to do it. I'm actually in a couple of weeks, once I'm home, going to do my STCWs, and I might do a video to take you through the process to show you what is required, where we need to do this, and of course the prices that they charge. Up next will be your COVID vaccination. Nowadays, if you want to travel, most countries will require that you become fully vaccinated, and if you want to work on board cruise ships, this is a requirement nowadays. Also, next will be your C1D visa, which is your crew member in transit visa. This visa is a US granted visa where you need to go to the US embassy for a face-to-face interview. And again, if this sounds like a lot, I will actually do another video to cover this topic on visas. Just let me know if you want that video down in the comment section. And lastly will be the visa that you're going to join in that particular country. Again, this information will be communicated to you depending on where you're going to fly to and actually join the ship. Now again, as a reminder, I've just ran through the documentation that is needed in visas, but like I've said, I'm going to dedicate an entire video, depending if you want it, to go through these topics and take you step by step. Now we are ready to proceed to step number 7, which is the final step in our joining process. Step number 7 is one of the most exciting steps. It is the final steps, and by now you have all your documentations ready. They would have sent you your flight information. If not, they will send you so you can know where you're flying to, and of course all the details into where you're joining the ship and the dates. Now, when you fly and arrive at your destination, the port agent will actually take care of you. They will assign a driver to take you straight to the ship if you're joining on the same day, or if you're joining on the following day, they will take you to the hotel. And basically, you will have some rest, and the following day will be day number 1 to join and start this exciting journey. Now, that's it, guys. You've got it. That is the whole process, the authentic process that I have followed, and I hope this information has helped you in some way and you are ready now to begin your journey on joining your cruise ships. Now, let's wrap this conversation up. If I happen to forget or leave out anything, feel free to drop a comment. I'll be more than happy to assist. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Turn on that bell notification icon so you do not miss any new content that I post. Also, this keeps the motivation going so I can bring you more tips and more strategies. Now, I know I've just shared a lot of information in one video. Don't worry, because I'm actually putting together a step-by-step guide that will further enhance you on your journey. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description below so that you can be able to sign up, and I'll let you know as soon as I launch. Now, please also make sure that you stay tuned for more content that we spoke about and I promised you. For now, it's been a pleasure hosting this video. Stay good, stay safe. This is 𝐊𝐍𝐎𝐓𝐄𝐒𝐓 signing off. Until the next one, goodbye, my friend.